Fannie Lou Hamer was born into poverty. It was 1917, and the place was Montgomery County, Mississippi. The youngest of 20 children, Fannie Lou knew hardship from her earliest days. Life for a black sharecropper in the Deep South was a constant struggle. At the tender age of 6, Fannie Lou's small hands were already picking cotton. This was the reality for many black children in the Jim Crow South. Education was a luxury Fannie Lou could barely afford. She attended school sporadically, forced to drop out at the age of 12. Her formal education may have been cut short, but Fannie Lou possessed a sharp mind and an unyielding spirit. She thirsted for knowledge and justice. In 1944, Fannie Lou married Perry Hamer. They worked tirelessly as sharecroppers, enduring long hours and meager wages. For 20 years they toiled on the plantation of W.D. Marlowe. It was backbreaking labor with little reward. In 1961, Fannie Lou went to the hospital for a simple procedure. What she got was a horrific violation. Without her consent, doctors performed a forced sterilization. This barbaric practice, known as a Mississippi appendectomy, was a cruel attempt to control the black population. Fannie Lou's spirit, however, could not be broken. Despite the hardships she faced, Fannie Lou remained resilient. Her faith was her anchor, and her determination burned bright. Little did she know that her life was about to change, and she would become a beacon of hope for millions. Life for Fannie Lou Hamer took a dramatic turn in 1962. A meeting with civil rights activists ignited a fire in her soul. James Forman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee and James Bevel of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference spoke of equality and the right to vote. These ideas resonated deeply with Fannie Lou. Inspired by their message, Fannie Lou decided to register to vote. This seemingly simple act was an act of defiance in the Jim Crow South. Black citizens faced intimidation, violence, and legal barriers designed to keep them from the ballot box. Undeterred, Fannie Lou, along with 17 others, traveled to the county courthouse in Indianola, Mississippi. Their journey was met with resistance. White officials tried to intimidate them, but Fannie Lou stood firm. She passed the literacy test and paid the poll tax. For the first time in her life, she registered to vote. This courageous act came at a great personal cost. Fannie Lou was fired from her job and evicted from her home. She faced harassment and threats of violence, but she refused to be silenced. Her determination to fight for her rights and the rights of all black Americans only grew stronger. Fannie Lou Hamer had found her calling. In 1963, Fannie Lou Hamer's commitment to justice led her to Winona, Mississippi. She was traveling with other activists when their bus was stopped by police. The charge? The bus was too yellow. This flimsy excuse masked a sinister motive to intimidate and silence civil rights workers. Fannie Lou and her companions were arrested and taken to the Winona jail. Inside the jailhouse, a nightmare unfolded. Fannie Lou was brutally beaten by 2 black prisoners, forced to act on orders from white law enforcement officers. The beating was savage, leaving her with permanent kidney damage and a blood clot in her eye. Despite the pain and terror, Fannie Lou's spirit remained unbroken. She sang hymns and spirituals, her voice echoing through the jail cells, offering comfort to her fellow activists and defiance to her oppressors. The world would soon hear her powerful voice. The beating in Winona was a turning point for Fannie Lou Hamer. It solidified her resolve and brought national attention to the brutality of segregation. She emerged from that jail cell a symbol of courage and resilience, ready to confront the forces of racism head-on. Section 4. The Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. The fight for voting rights in Mississippi was far from over. In 1964, Fannie Lou Hamer took her activism a step further. She helped found the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, or MFDP. This alternative political party was created to challenge the legitimacy of the all-white Mississippi Democratic Party. The MFDP aimed to give a voice to black Mississippians who had been systematically excluded from the political process. Fannie Lou knew that true democracy required the full participation of all citizens. The MFDP held its own primaries and sent a delegation to the 1964 Democratic National Convention in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Their goal was to unseat the all-white delegation and demand recognition for the MFDP. Fannie Lou Hamer was ready to take her message to the national stage. Her voice, now amplified by the power of the MFDP, would soon reach millions. Section 5. A voice silenced, a nation awakened. The 1964 Democratic National Convention was a pivotal moment in the civil rights movement. Fannie Lou Hamer, as a member of the MFDP delegation, was scheduled to deliver a powerful testimony before the Credentials Committee. Her speech, detailing the injustices faced by black Mississippians, promised to be a defining moment. However, President Lyndon B. Johnson, fearing the political ramifications of Hamer's testimony, intervened. He scheduled a televised press conference at the same time as Hamer's speech, hoping to minimize its impact. While many Americans tuned into Johnson's conference, unaware of Hamer's story, her words found their way to the public. Later that day, excerpts of Hamer's testimony were broadcast on national television. Her powerful words, spoken with conviction and raw emotion, captivated the nation. She spoke of the violence and intimidation she endured in her quest to register to vote. Her testimony exposed the brutal reality of segregation and the urgent need for change. Though President Johnson tried to silence her, Fannie Lou Hamer's voice resonated across the country. Her courage and determination inspired millions and helped galvanize support for the civil rights movement. Section 6. The Freedom Farm Cooperative, Sowing the Seeds of Change. Fannie Lou Hamer's fight for equality extended beyond voting rights. She knew that true freedom required economic empowerment. In 1969, she founded the Freedom Farm Cooperative, or FC, in Sunflower County, Mississippi. The cooperative aimed to address the deep-seated poverty and landlessness that plagued black communities in the Mississippi Delta. The FC provided land, resources, and opportunities for black farmers and sharecroppers. It offered a hand-up, not a handout, empowering people to become self-sufficient. The cooperative grew a variety of crops, raised livestock, and even established a pig bank, providing much-needed protein for struggling families. The Freedom Farm Cooperative was a testament to Fannie Lou Hamer's unwavering belief in the power of community and collective action. It was a beacon of hope in the face of poverty and discrimination, demonstrating that a better future was possible.